Oh, yeah, boy. You already know what it is. It's time to discuss some of this good stuff with us. Let's kick it like, hey, what's going on, y'all? It is another weekend with your friends, the Blurs. Of course, we here to tell y'all what's popping. And yes, there is much to discuss on this Saturday morning. I am your boy, the real Vince Taylor. Let's talk about the fact that Ghostbusters is live in theaters as of this week. And yes, some of us saw it. We're going to give our opinions on it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. In addition to that, there's a lot of other things going on. Just a few spoilers. Let's go ahead and talk about the fact that John Bernthal is teasing the return of Punisher. What's going on there, bruh? We also have some other announcements. Looks like Sony is in the process of creating what they call an animated short for Spider-Verse, and that looks like it's gonna be cool. Let's discuss. Also, speaking of animated stuff, this is something we might be looking forward to. Teen Titans movie. Do we not want? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Also, what else is going on in the world? There is a new Acolyte trailer, and we gonna show it at the end of the show, so don't go nowhere at all. In addition to that, what else dropped this week? Hey, X-Men 97 is now on Disney Plus, and I ain't gonna lie, bruh, this show did not come to play the radio. So let's talk about that. What else is going on? Our own queen, Angela Bassett, is set to be honored as a Disney legend coming up this fall. We definitely want to talk on that. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of other things going on. Why is Marvel starting to lose their balls, and they're canceling some shows, not shows, but some movies that were in production just because, well, I believe they may be scared of the whole anti-war backlash, but we'll talk about that in a little bit, as well as a couple other things. Like I said, the Fallout premieres coming out. Halo just had its season finale. For those of y'all who didn't know, American Society of Magical Negroes is out there if you're looking for something to not go see. And it's tax season, y'all. And we want to talk about why is it that it take Professor X so long to get these X-Men their W-2s? I don't know, man. We'll go ahead and get into it. I am your boy, like I said, reporting live, the real Vince Taylor, right here from the Empire State, which evidently is frozen for right now. And in addition to myself, we have the one and only Nolly in the his house. What's going on, Nolly? We've got Omar in the his house. And look who it is, the newly and almost married Yazzie in the his house. We here to talk all this merch stuff, so let's go ahead and get into it. Y'all already know what it is, but go ahead, tell them what it is just in case you didn't know, my bride.
I love the new blurred order. You should too.
Let me get all this 10P Wayne. All the niggas rapping about the same old thing. I've been coming through with the same old gang. Ain't shit changed except now I got a name. Got it out the mud but we got no stains. Cold ass lizard with a gold ass chain. The girl call me daddy, not my government name. Money on my mind, got them bands on my brain. Let me tell y'all about a nigga I know. The nigga stay clean so he always got hoes.
Wow, I kept the music going the whole time. That's the first. All right, cool. Well, hey, listen, as y'all know, man, Ghostbusters came out this week, but that's not the only thing we're going to talk about. But we may discuss at least our opinions on the movie, as I do believe some of us did have an opportunity to see it this week. But man, there's so much going on. I don't even know if we're going to be able to get through all of it. I didn't even mention the fact that Invincible came back, and it's got a whole nother episode, man. It's so much popping right now. So why don't we go ahead and first start off by saying, Nolly, where you get them clothes at? Nolly got on the fresh gear, man. We all got, so what, those the Sentinels, right? That's the Sentinels.
Yes,
and who else on the shirt?
Everyone's on it. It's got Storm, it's got Jean, you believe, Wolverine up in here, Cyclops somewhere. I seen him somewhere. He's somewhere. I got Beast.
Which version of Storm is it that we have on there? Which version of Storm?
She don't got the mohawk. She's
No
got
mohawk.
the flowing Farrah Fawcett wig.
You had some other clothes. Not the Farrah. What else you got over there?
They just dropped an Adventure Time collection.
Look at this. Nolly's going through the laundry chute. She's got all nerdy material.
I got Oh, it's hard to see because it's on you.
Oh,
It has a
the
lot of
green
yellow.
screen.
This one was
All
cute,
right.
but I like it
Yeah,
every time. It's
it's
hard to
like
see with the green screen, but this one's cute.
it's
I
funny
can see that.
with the green screen. It's like perfect material. That's like ghost materials.
I know.
Yeah, it was like a force ghost.
It's like
This
perfect
is
for us.
cool.
Hey, okay,
I got
hold on. Let
like
me see again. Hold on.
Marceline and everyone on it.
Nice.
Adventure Time. Okay, Finn the
Um,
dog and Jake the human. All
Alright,
right.
that's
I'm with it. Cool. And welcome back. Excuse me. Yes. How is everything with you? How are you doing? How's life? How is, being?
Life's been good, crazy. Getting married, so there's a lot
Yeah.
of pieces and things that you have to get together and take time, but it's almost coming to an end. We're finally almost to the day. Thank praise Jesus. We have less than a month to go, 3 weeks, and
Nice.
I will be a newlywed. Hey,
Whoa, pull on up. You ain't the only one getting some, Magneto. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Oh my God.
Anyway, all right, cool. Well, thank you. And yes, is it okay if we talk a little bit about the plans? I mean, about the lettuce of the wedding, if you will.
I kind of want it to be a surprise.
Okay.
Only because we're all are gonna, what I'm saying, as much of us are gonna be in one setting as one time, and it's for my wedding. So I think it'll be a badass surprise for all of our followers and viewers, because I'm gonna have someone taking pictures, video, all that stuff on the day. So that way, and she'll send it to me, like a couple days after. That way we can chop it up and do whatever we want with it. So
Nice.
guys, sorry, the big day is gonna be a surprise, and you guys are gonna enjoy that I made that decision, only because it's going to be a great day to celebrate. Not only is it going to be like, a special day for me, but it's going to be a special day for those who celebrate. So I can't wait to celebrate with everyone and show you guys, our plans for our wedding. So yeah, next month.
Yeah, well, it's so good. It's so good to see you. You look great. You look energized. It looks like the rest has worked for you. I mean, I don't know if that's okay to say, but I'm glad to see you. Omar, you've also had a couple weeks. Is everything good, man? How's everything in your neck of the woods?
All right. Life's just lifing,
Life's.
Feel that.
Yeah.
Life has a tendency to life every now and
does.
then. So we definitely got to take it. Well, listen, let's go ahead and get into some of this stuff that helps us get through life. And I believe one of the things that helped me get through this week was this Ghostbusters movie that just dropped. So let's go ahead and get into the Ghostbusters movie. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I am a huge Ghostbusters fan. I saw the original Ghostbusters in the movie theater with my mother in St. Louis, Cinemark Park. I will never forget it, seeing the Zool and all of that. So I'm going to take this down. I think 3 out of 4 of us have seen it. I'm going to take this poster down in a second. I just want y'all to give me thumbs up if you liked the movie, thumbs down if you didn't, meh in the middle if you felt neither way whatsoever. So I'm going to take it down in 3, 2, 1.
Yes. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. I've been so busy. I didn't get to see it yet, but I'm going.
Okay. It's okay. Yes, it's okay. We got a little. I mean, I know you've been wedding planning, so you can sit and just provide your commentary as you will. But I did see there was a thumbs up coming from Omar. So you're digging it, huh? You liked it? You thought it was worth your money?
I like the way they explored certain lore this time, because the first movie was like, oh, this prophecy to happen would just happen to have these two people, and I'm like, oh, these two people that know each other, and I'm like,
right.
This one's more like, I like when they get into like the lore of something, and this time around it wasn't like based in something white either. So like this being whatnot, and how it was, the pacing of the movie was really nice too. Like I like that it was a slow pace to this big bad, not like the big bad showed up and we've been dealing with it for the whole movie. It was like the slow pace toward it, which I did enjoy a lot.
Okay. What about you, Nolly? You feel the same way?
I was braced for mediocrity. I was ready to go in there and be like, this could have been a straight to streaming release. But I was pleasantly surprised. I liked the way they did it. It was fan service, but it wasn't poorly done fan service.
True, I get
it. It was lots of nods to the originals. It was pleasant. I liked it.
Pleasant is definitely a good way to describe it. All right, so I will say I did get a chance to see it. I'm a little lukewarm on it. Welcome to the show, Tiffy, as well. It's good to see you, Tiffy. We have some questions for you regarding X-Men 97. As I understand, you have some exclusive experience with it, but we'll get to that in just a moment. We were just going into the Ghostbusters movie that we all that three of us saw. I'm not sure if you got a chance to see it, but I did see it, and I frankly was a little slightly disappointed.
Okay, good.
Okay, I was slightly disappointed. I liked it. I didn't love it, but it's not because it wasn't a good movie. It was because I thought that there was some missed opportunities in the movie.
Yes.
I think that the I didn't mind the fan service. It was cool to see the old gang back at the helm. I like the original Venkman and Bill Murray, and and I love the fact that they're building around the character of Egon, and his family is basically the inheritors of the Ghostbusters mantle. But I think that the missed opportunity for me came with the release. Okay, then we're not spoiling today. Okay. We'll talk about it later. But I think that in terms of villainry,
yes,
there could have been, I know you all said you liked how they didn't just come out with the big bad and all of that, and that's cool. I get it. But I feel like they could have at least given us a little bit more of the villainry. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It was a lot of toying around the big bad, and by the time the big bad came about, there was only a few minutes left in the movie. You know what I'm saying? So it was like there was a lot of potential for horror. You know, there was a lot of potential for really scary, icky, like give me creeps when I'm asleep type vibes. And I feel like that ball was dropped. But here's my defense of that. I think that their objective is bringing in another generation of Ghostbusters fans. So I don't think that they were going for horror, right? When I first saw Ghostbusters, I was scared as fuck. That freaking dog that Rick Moranis turned into, and Sigourney Weaver, opening up the refrigerator and Zool, and you know what I'm saying? Like even the and quick spoiler, there was a callback to the original Library Ghost, which I lost. I yelled out loud in the movie theater about. But I think that some of the fan service may have taken a little bit of the place of what could have been a really thrilling ending to a more climatic villain type of showcase. I don't know. Am I way off base, Omar, Nali? Is that fair?
Your gripe with that's fairly fair because I like that slow pacing, but like you're right. By the time it's like, oh, we only got 5 minutes left. Oh, they about to wrap this shit up. Like they about to. It's okay. He ain't getting that much shine. I guess it's different as compared to like if we look at Puss in Boots: The Last Wish with Death, where he was so cool with it was so cool with Death because less was more with Death, and we saw him and he was haunting Puss in Boots throughout the entire show. He's only there for maybe 10 minutes, but that final scene, it's so big, and those little bits led up, like little breadcrumbs led up to a big moment, whereas with this, it's like little breadcrumb, and the big reveal is still a little breadcrumb. I think my biggest issue with this was I'm like, Winston Zedman got the money now. Okay, I'm like, why is the firehouse still broken down? Why is the Ectomobile? I'm like, the Ectomobile has like an upgrade just for like releasing a drone. I'm like, y'all don't have power windows in the Ectomobile. This is crazy in 2024. I'm like, give me a new, like, it can be a hearse, but like give me an updated the Cadillac not make a hearse yet. Like give me an updated version of the hearse. The proton packs, why are they still big? I was talking about it with France Graham, who writes for us. He was like, yo, the proton packs all big and clunky. I'm like, it looks like a bunch of USBs are in the proton pack, and I can see a bunch of shit charging. I'm like, that's cool in the 80s. Like, yeah, it's real DIY. It's 2024. Them shit should look like more updated, like at least hide the wiring. And then they do show fuck that. They show some new ones. They're like, oh yeah, here's the updated version. I'm like, okay, it just has a better spray painted case. I can still see the wires. There's one on your arm. Okay. I'm like, but And here's the thing, like 2016 did it better when she had the dual wield pistols on the side. Like, up there. So like, why isn't it updated like that? Different versions of that. That was my main thing. So we see what they're using the money on. I'm like, okay, no, I won't spoil it, but I'm like, oh, you're doing this. Why does this shit still look like me and my boys put this together? Like this shit looks like, why does it look like we did this from a treehouse? And like what? And they're using what? They have this one computer and it looks like it's straight up IBM. I'm like, it's 2024.
Yeah, you saw that. You saw
Omar, I think you're missing the vintage. I think you're missing the vintage, like
it's 2024.
That's what I'm just saying.
Vintage in 2024.
Yes, it's like
you're not gonna use an IBM.
Missing it. We're doing the throwback, new and old. You're missing the aesthetic of
no.
friend, okay?
If you went into work right now on an IBM, I know damn well you wouldn't be like, you're like, what? Where's my computer? Like, hey, no, we're doing retro day to day.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in dial-up at work. Okay, I work in a hospital, so like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that shit crashes, we're all doomed. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, I feel that, but I mean, like,
well, then wouldn't you want the more updated thing?
Listen, it's not always about what you want; it's what you get. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right, my computer guy, he's really nice at work, but every time it ain't fixed. That's all I'm saying.
I just wish it was, even if you keep the DIY part. Like, I just wish it was more up. That was my only thing. Like, oh, if there's supposed to be a new generation and new kids and whatnot, you're doing a bunch of new things. Cool. I'm not saying it should be like fucking like gold plated with proton packs and everything, but I'm just like, it should look like, oh, look how far we've come. And it also shows how you've advanced with the technology as well and how smart you guys are, because this is a whole different genre of science that they're using, right? So it would just elevate it, like, yo, look where we started, where we did our DIY'd it. Now look how far we've come as well. Like going from the original like Apple to like, we have Mac Air or whatever, like just seeing that process.
I'm not gonna lie.
So we can finish.
Let me jump on with Omar real quick, because I did keep thinking, like, why are we? I mean, as much as an iconic vehicle is, why are we still rolling with the hearse? You know, I mean, can't we get like a Durango, or I mean, is there a range?
At least have power windows. At least
power windows. You know what I'm saying? Like, windows.
That was crazy. That shit was 1999. That's crazy.
Okay, kids don't know that Windows did that. You guys are missing the aesthetic.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
Damn.
What did Star-Lord say to Nebula? Open the door. You're clicking. She didn't even know how to use like the automatic locks.
These kids don't know how to use that shit if they ever got in a situation.
I want to forget how to use that shit.
They would be fucked. They'd be like, it doesn't work. I'm screwed.
Listen, I mean, there was a recent incident with a prominent member of the Senate whose sister-in-law passed because they were wheeled into a lake in a Tesla and they couldn't roll the windows down and water just came into the car.
And confusing.
They
fucking confusing. That's
a
whole
other.
other.
They were on with their friends asking for help. Hey, please help me. This car, and they listened to the whole thing happen because the Tesla would not allow them to roll the windows down. That's a real issue. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it had nothing to do with
Tesla.
But
that shit didn't happen to a Corolla. That shit.
I'm talking about like technology, though. That shit just killed those people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for that, I'm talking about Toyota has never let me down, nigga. That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying mechanics never die, my friend.
This shit is crazy.
Omar is not bullshitting. I had a Toyota Corolla for like 8 years. They never changed the oil, not nan time, my nigga. That shit's
like I said, that's an old school car, though. Do you see what I'm saying? They Toyota Corollas, they changed the body. They didn't change how it was designed. That's the only car that does not work, right?
I love it. So I mean, I think we can agree that, you know, the Ghostbusters villain, fairly spooky, definitely did the whole scary vibe, but just was not, you know, I mean, they tried to redo the Zool and kind of give, you know, the end, because I remember the very beginning, the very first one, there was a lot of lead up to the end, and we saw the villain at the end, and it was fine. But the whole time, the villain was influencing evil characters. This time, the characters are fun-loving characters. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was great to see like I said, we had hella fan service. So it was cool to see, some of the people reprise their roles, including Slimer. You saw the mayor. How are you the mayor for 20 years, Bloomberg? My God.
Yeah, I was like his son or something. Like,
I'm like, oh, yeah, make it make sense. And then, even the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, all that was cool. I loved seeing Slimer. I think Paul Rudd is a great addition to the cast. I think he holds it down for the humor role. But I do have to say, one of the best things about this movie, for me, this time around, was Kumail, and this motherfucker had me dying laughing. Like he was such a good addition. There's a low-key element of superpowers that's going on here with the supernatural realm, and I was here for it. What did y'all think, Nali and Omar, about about Kumail's fire character? Omar first.
No, I'll go Nali. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Nali.
I thought he was great. He's one of those like effortlessly funny people where it didn't feel like he was like forcing, like some actors play the funny character. It's just not, it don't work. Sometimes it feels like you're trying to spoon feed it to me, and I told you I don't like carrots, He definitely he gave it, and I believed it 100%. In fact, I was like, man, sir, you need to get out your grandmama's house. But he was giving every mid-20s to 30s man living in Queens for me. And I was like, it fits. It fits.
I particularly like the line, Omar, of who's the one that's more accomplished, the guy who goes to engineering school, or the one who makes life without anything. Like I felt that. What about you, Omar?
I like the element that he brings in. Because like that open, like you already said it, like the supernatural element that comes with him. It opens up their world outside of just like afterlife and ghosts. Now we're getting into the occult, so I think that's a good way to move with the franchise. Like, oh, now we know, like, oh, occult shit is like, we know ghosts possible, so maybe this was possible. Oh, it's just confirmed now that this shit is possible. So it's a great direction for them to move in. And I'm kind of hoping he joins the cast, or they have him come back for something as well.
Yeah, I will say that this seemed to be a good a good peer into the future of the franchise. I don't think that they're going to draw this one out to 5 movies, but I think there may be a cap on a trilogy for this, and it would make. And I like the way that they've developed the cast. We can talk about it a little more next week when we do spoilers, if we even get back to it. But at the end of the movie, it's clear that this is a continuation, that there will be another Ghostbusters movie. And one of the reasons we know that is because there was a post-credit scene. And if you did stick around for that post-credit scene, you'll know that it starred one of our friends from right here in the show. I'm not going to show the scene, but this gentleman was in the movie.
As you all may have noticed, we are joined by none other than the star himself of South Aiken's museum that they're trying to put. There's so much I would have asked to. We got Adam Murray's in the building, man.
What's up?
Thanks. This dude is killing it, man. He was already.
Adam is everywhere right now. Like literally, Adam is in. He was in Stranger Things, and these are speaking roles. These aren't just like, oh, I'm in the background. He is in She-Hulk. All right. He's in that show with the other black girl on Hulu.
I thought he's in that show with the other black girl. I was like, what? Oh, that is the name. I forgot. That's the name of the show.
Okay. We together. Okay.
I was like, how did he say that?
And then I'm sitting in the movie theater doing my usual thing as a Marvel fan, because we can't leave until it actually the lights come up and the curtains are up. And I look on the screen, and it's fucking Adam Murray again. And I'm like, fucking Murray, what the fuck? You're everywhere, bro. And I even texted him. As soon as I said him, I hit him in the inbox. I was like, he's done it again. And he was just laughing. He sent me an emoji. He's like, ha, ha, ha. And so I was like, yo, you got to come back and talk to us. So, Adam, I'm happy for you. I'm proud, man. But God damn it, man, we want to hear what it's like to be on the set of Marvel Studios. What it's like to be in the set. If you go to his Instagram, you'll see he's been posting this all kind of stuff. So real quick, man, just a real quick shout out to the homie. And Loud Crocodile. That's right, Daniel. That's right. He was in. The dude is coming up for a dude that looks legit like Florida man. He's doing his thing. Look at this dude again, man. This guy right here.
I may have noticed. We are joined by none other than the star himself of South Aiken's museum that they're trying to put. There's so much I would have asked you. Adam Murray's in the building, man. Looks like Hacksaw Jim Duggan Jr. You know what I'm saying?
That was a good reference.
Like, I'm just happy for him. You know, he's a local comedian, not local anymore. You know, we used to do our gigs together. So I just want to give that man his flowers real quick. So I would say, even though I was lukewarm on it, I do think that this is a movie worth seeing. For those of y'all that are out there wondering, or if you're on the fence about going to see Ghostbusters, I think Nolly and Omar and I will give you at least the go ahead. It's going to be worth your money. As to whether it lives up to the franchise, we'll leave that up for you to tell us. Now, moving right along real quick, I would like to continue our segment in which we spotlight some of our, at least for this week, my favorite Black characters. It is still Women History Month, so I would like to take this moment for the next couple minutes to spotlight Black women in science fiction movies. Black women in science fiction movies, and maybe a little bit of action as well. And just kind of keeping in with the theme, I would like to obviously spotlight none other than the Leslie Jones, who was the first Black woman Ghostbuster. Hilarious.
Yes.
And definitely held it down. Even though I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't my favorite Ghostbusters movie, but I was in love with her character specifically. And I didn't like the backlash that she personally had come at her after the movie. But keeping it moving, in addition to her science fiction wise, I want to shout out none other than Leah Harvey, who played Salvor Hardin in The Foundation, one of my favorite shows that's out recently. Now, this one isn't necessarily science fiction, but I want to give a quick shout out to Naomi Harris for being the lead character and lead in Ninja Assassin, which a lot of people don't really give her a lot of credit for. Ninja Assassin had a lead Black woman movie. She was a badass in that shit, and she was the love interest. I mean, come the fuck on. Like, when do you get a ninja with a Black love interest and a badass ninja movie? Get the fuck out of here. That shit was
so right. That movie's underrated. Oh my God.
I don't know what's up with the sequel. What's up with the sequel?
I hear you. It was, dude, that was like the best action I think I've ever seen in a ninja movie. Like, I fell in love with just like that movie. When I first saw it, I think I was like, I don't know, maybe 20 years old. Like, I just turned 20 years old. And I was like, this Ninja Assassin, I don't know. All right, we'll play around with the little, what did I think he looked like? He looked like Han. I was like, Han's little brother. We'll play around with Han's little brother and some swords. And I'm not going to lie. Han's little brother showed up, okay? Like, I was like, God damn, like, I want to be the little Black woman he's saving. I'm like, this one, I'm safe with him. I said, he about to die.
I'm safe with him.
His guts are hanging out. He's still like,
I
want that man. I'm just saying that was the most epic I've ever seen in my life.
Man. And a lot of people still, don't even talk about this movie as if like it's almost like it never happened, man. And I feel bad because this role was so shocking to me to see that she was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know Black women run the world, but for her to be the lead, you know, in a ninja movie, I just thought was groundbreaking. Just for me personally, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I'll digress. In addition to her, I also want to mention Nicole Bahari, who was the star of a show called Sleepy Hollow. I'm a huge Nicole Bahari fan. I don't know if y'all watch Sleepy Hollow or not. I liked it. Maybe I just like Nicole. I don't know. But the show popped for 2 seasons. It popped that 3rd season. We won't talk about it, but it did do its thug thizzle. I also want to shout out in the science fiction realm, none other than Sanaa Lathan.
Yes, I was waiting. I was wondering.
Alien vs. Predator, you goddamn right. We got to put her in this motherfucker. And not only was she in, of course, starring in Alien vs. Predator, but let's not forget that Sanaa Lathan is basically the mother of the Marvel movement. She is Blade's mom in this motherfucker. So let's not sit here and act like Sanaa ain't outside doing this. And it's not just Why Did I Get Married To and Love and Basketball. She is killing it in the science fiction realm as well. Now, I want to take this a little further. And of course, when we talk about science fiction, I've got to talk about some of my favorite movies. Welcome back. Welcome to the show, my man Ty. Man, let me adjust this, man.
What up?
in here. They okay. And I wanted to go ahead and give credit where credit is due, because when it comes to science fiction, almost nobody does it better than Star Trek. Sorry, guys. I know y'all ain't into it, but it is what it is. And I would like to spotlight some of the characters on Star Trek that I think do deserve their flowers. I want to give props to Guinan, aka Whoopi Goldberg, who is over 1,000 years old, because that's what her species does. And she has been keeping Picard in check for centuries. So appreciate that. And of course, we have to mention the first Black woman captain of a Starship Enterprise ship, Michael Burnham, aka Sonequa Martin, who gave us not only Black girl magic in the seat, but also did it in braids. Hallelujah! And she was the first Black woman to have a Black man as a relationship. So Sanaa Lathan also gave us our first Black couple. I mean, if you don't include Cisco, even though his wife, they were a Black couple, but she wasn't around. she wasn't around.
Didn't see her.
She wasn't around. She wasn't around. Anyway, all right, you're missing the reference. Anyway, so but my my accolades this week go to, in terms of my favorite Black woman character in the science fiction realm, it is none other than, and it's not even close, Nichelle Nichols of Star Trek fame, aka Uhura, who is from Kenya in the show, who not only served us Black girl intellect, who not only was able to communicate with multiple alien languages because she was the communications director of the bridge, but also did it serving us in style, sexy and classy, in addition to being smart. And not only did she pull up in Star Trek and show us that representation matters, even back in the 50s and 60s, because this show first came out in black and white, not only did she give Hollywood their very first interracial kiss on a mainstream television network, but she also actually influenced NASA, people that came to NASA, because before Uhura was on screen, there were a lot of Black people who were like, look, man, we don't belong in space. There was even a poem, a very popular one called Whitey on the Moon, that we were like, look, bro, we ain't got nothing to do with that. We got too many problems going on in our neighborhoods to be worried about space travel. But Nichelle Nichols was like, nah, bro, let me go ahead and give y'all some information. So she actually, it's been said on a couple of articles that I'm just going to read this. This is from NASA.gov. Just a real quick rendition of Nichelle Nichols. Nichelle was a trailblazing actress, advocate, and dear friend to NASA at a time when Black women were seldom seen on screen. Nichelle's portrayal of Nyota Uhura on Star Trek held up a mirror to America that strengthened civil rights, said Bill Nelson, the NASA administrator. Nichelle's advocacy transcended television and transformed NASA. After Apollo 11, Nichelle made it her mission to inspire women and people of color to join this agency, change the face of STEM, and explore the cosmos. Nichelle's mission is NASA's mission. Nichelle's mission is NASA's mission. Today, we work to send the first woman and first person of color to the moon under Artemis, and NASA is guided by the legacy of Nichelle Nichols. So today, Nichelle, you get the award for being our Black woman character of the week. Thank you so much, Uhura, for doing what you do. Any Uhura fans on the panel? All right, we'll keep it. we'll keep it. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't like Star Trek, but I do like Aurora, so I'll go with that. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the gratitude there. It's okay. Well, we still have time. We're working on you. What about you, Omar? What you like about Uhura, Omar?
Oh, I remember. I think it was Nicole Homer and Carrie McLean. They're writers from the site, and they stress how important her role is. Because like, oh, you hear communications, but like, well, no, because if we're going to another planet or another place, you need to know the language of place. And as Jai Poetic would say, language is a dangerous animal. It can get you in and out of danger. Mm-hmm. It can get you killed if you don't know it correctly. And so like, she's like, that is, you need a translator. It's so important to have a translator, which I'm like, I was going to get the X-Men, how they always make fun of this one guy called Cypher, whose power is to understand every language. But like, that in the right situation, that is the person you need. You go somewhere you're a foreigner, and you don't speak the language, well, then you're a fish out of water and you can be dead.
Yeah,
or
man.
Google Translate.
Mm.
Yeah, phones down. Google Translate. You can take it with you. Phones down.
That might not translate
Were you
enough.
just talking about how it was, up to date 2024?
That's true. Yeah,
I'm like, wait, what? Excuse, say that one more time clearer to the device. Man, you don't need to shit in my face. What the fuck? Like, what are you putting in my face? I'm getting my ass beat because I wanted to know where the fucking where the sushi spot was.
Yeah. It'd be difficult to walk through the streets of Tokyo with Google Translate and say this into them. Okay, yes, no,
no, speak it. Where are you going? No, speak it. I'm not trying to do weird shit. I'm just trying to find somewhere to eat. I promise.
Well, listen, thank you, Nichelle, for doing what you did. Thank you, Uhura, for providing that outlet for us. Now, on to some other important matters, such as other folks that help provide some sort of insight for people of color and for the people who are oppressed. I'm talking about in themselves, which resurfaced not too long ago, and they came out swinging like a motherfucker, if I could say so myself. I'm gonna keep it 100% with y'all. I put on the X-Men and I watched it because I was like, all right, it's back, let me watch it, because we gotta talk about it. And as I'm watching it, as the end of the first episode came, I was like, whoa, okay. And then the end of the second episode, I was like, oh my God. I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? What? That's what we're doing? Okay, so Tiffy, I'm so glad you're here. From what I understand, you've been granted a little bit of exclusive access, and you've had the opportunity of seeing these X-Men shows, and maybe even a little more than some of us. I just want to get an idea of what you think about it so far. Is it serving the way you expected? Tell me, what's your thoughts?
Oh, I think that it's pretty great. I think that they've done a really great job of taking the cartoon from the 90s and growing it up for that audience. So, yeah, I love it. So that was gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple things that we may discuss. There's obviously some changes from the original X-Men development, right? Omar, they have distinctly made Jubilee of Asian heritage, it appears.
She was always been that. Asian.
She's always been Korean.
Well, in the original cartoon, did they have her features as it was? Okay. Yeah. I maybe I missed it as a younger individual. Maybe I just didn't check it.
They even have her like information up on the screen, and it says like she's Chinese American and like
Chinese American. My fault.
Okay, all right. I didn't, and maybe that's just the oversight by my behalf. I remember the first series, the very first episodes were centered around Jubilee, and I in this one I felt like it was a little more heavily pronounced, and I was happy about that. But of course we have the Mohawk. We've already talked about it, so we've accepted that, and also some of the additional members of the team. But one of the things that I thought was frankly fascinating, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, Tiffy, Omar. Was the evolution of Bishop. All right. Bishop is the way that he's been drawn has kind of morphed from this is giving me a little bit of Jimmy's Fly Snooker. This is giving me maybe pimps and hoes.
Ice Cube NWA, man, when they had the Jericho. What's up?
NWA. Like a gangster soul glow, like the commercial.
Yeah. I'm not mad.
Yeah. It's like a gangster.
But now he's giving me, villain. He's
look at that goatee. Look at that haircut. Look, they got that mimics the way he looks in Krakoa with the haircut and then the goatee as well. So it looks like it's straight from the comics. Yeah, he needed an update, and it's my man. Storm's had like what 2 hairstyles. Bishop's like, can I please? It's not 1991 anymore, dog. I'm not begging my colors no more. Can I too grow? Can I too give me I just want to, can I please? The locks ain't luscious no more. Can I just I'm tired of doing this. I want to do this.
Tiffy, are we feeling the Bishop's upgrade now? I mean, I don't want to say upgrade, but his updated now that he's matching, as Omar says, the way it is drawn in the comic.
He looked like my ex.
Oh, it's still here. Here, at least they did not give him the Killmonger.
That's true.
Oh yeah, we could have had the man. We could have had
That's one step before the Killmonger.
Now that little.
Tiffy, are you able to watch the show with Bishop in there? Does it
Oh yeah, it's not an issue. But if you're asking me if I specifically like it,
every time he gets blasted, you're just like, he had that coming. He knows what he did. He knows what he did.
Yeah. Hit him again.
Yo, well, Ty, you got long hair. You watched X-Men, man. How are you feeling about? How does the long hair caucus, the long hair don't care caucus, feel about the new upgraded Bishop, from Ice-T, pimps at the point, to Tyler Perry's, why did I get married 3? What are we thinking here, bro? How you feeling it?
Frankly, I'm offended.
Like Ice-T, that's why you mad.
I think Bishop had a nice regiment going.
This is discrimination against long-haired Negroes. Yeah, this is what do we do? I
felt included in the storyline. Where do I fit in? I feel like the only person who can go now is Magneto.
I thought representation matters. You know what I'm saying? We're neglecting the black long hair caucus. Nah, but straight up though, what's your thoughts on the X-Men release, man? What are you thinking? What are you liking about it? What are your observations?
Specifically, I love the way that they're using Morph early.
Oh yeah.
Like the way that they're in, like he is so like. First of all, I watched. I before the X-Men '97. I went back and watched the old X-Men, and I was like, dang, they with Morph, they didn't really use him like that. And then the first episode, you see Morph doing what Morph is supposed to be doing, morphing. He's morphing in this and morphing in that, and he at one point I think he was the integral part of winning the battle at the end of the first episode, I think it was.
I think you might be thinking of the second one where they're going Executioner.
Yeah.
He did a big save then.
Yeah, big save, right? So that to me stands out for many reasons, because I hope that also translates to Nightcrawler, because they didn't use Nightcrawler a lot in the original, and I'm hoping that if they're using Morph the way they're using him, then we'll see Nightcrawler get used and not just always come asking for help. I need your help, X-Men. What I mean. So Morph is what stood out, obviously, for me. But I really love the animation. I love it looks so crisp and so clean. And it just I'm excited, man. That the fight sequence when who jumped on somebody jumped on Wolverine's back. When Gambit jumped on Wolverine's back and then charged his claws, I was like, yo, if that's what we're doing, if we doing that, man, like, look, I'm ready for the next episode.
By the way, full-time spoilers for the X-Men. If you ain't seen it, tighten up, bro. This shit been out since last week. So in addition, and that was the one where Morph, he was like, "Yo, I need Blob," or he turned into
he's like Morph set him up. He turned into Blob, so give him the alley-oop to jump off him.
Jumped off him. So first of all, we haven't even gotten into the drama aspect of it, because like there's a whole soap opera going on in X-Men. And that's one of the low-key things that makes X-Men a little doper than, if I can speak on some of the other comic series, is that there's an actual realistic like things at play within the X-Men household, or the the formerly known as the School of the Gifted from Charles Xavier. Or maybe it still is. I'm sorry.
That's right. That's all correct.
But I wanted to talk about like how first of all the intro sequence. All right. Slightly different. There's a couple. There's a
updated.
without watching the actual original, I was trying to determine what the biggest differences was. It feels like there's one character that they swapped out for somebody. Did you catch that, Ty, Tiffy, Omar? Did y'all?
They added in Bishop.
Well,
they added Bishop. That was notable.
And it's different from the first episode to the second episode. So they added even more into the second episode intro.
That's
and Magneto.
I wasn't sure.
Was Morph in the original?
That was what I was asking. I don't remember Morph being a part of the intro sequence in the original.
Nah. That motherfucker gonna die first episode. You ain't got worried about him.
But what did they just add Morph and Bishop, or did they take somebody out and replace them with Underbody? I don't know.
No, they just added them. They added Morph. They added Bishop. They added Magneto.
Okay. Speaking of Magneto, Magneto. Magneto is not coming to fuck with you this year. Magneto is like this. Now, Omar, I'm not as well versed as you. You're our literary giant. Okay, so I'm so glad that you're here to kind of give us the canon as it pertains to this segment of the X-Men saga. And if I'm not mistaken, this is canon, right? This is what happened in which version of the X-Men books was it?
There was a time where Magneto was the headmaster of the. It's canon. It's he was headmaster in our timeline. That's hard. Now you can No. He was headmaster because, ironically enough, as we see Sunspot in the original as well, he was Sunspot's headmaster as well. So there is a time where, and there's also a timeline where Charles was killed and Magneto leads as well. There's so many timelines, but yeah, he was a the circumstances were different, but yeah, he has led the X-Men forward. It did happen, I believe, in the 80s as well too. And then we also get into like the trial of Magneto, which is in the second episode, which was an actual, like, it took place in France, but they changed some things. But yeah, like that was another storyline from the comics.
Now, I'm not sure, Nolly, guys, if y'all had an opportunity to see it, but y'all are still oh my God, this is great. Okay, perfect. So I'm honestly not only fascinated with the evolution of one Magneto, because I mean, he's clearly impacted by the plight of Charles Xavier, his best friend. Eric is now coming out and being like, look, bruh, his legacy is to live on through me. That is what it is. Mm-hmm. But I'm just going to keep it 100, man. There's something going on about this, you know what I'm saying, with this whole Rogue thing that I'm just a little interested in, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's really good? You know what I'm saying? Like, the T is evident. It is imminent. And I don't know the backstory, so I don't know if y'all here for the T or not, but it's getting juicy in the School of Gifted, man. What's going on there, bro? You want to expound a little bit, Omar, as our X-Men? Go ahead.
You want to take this one, Tiffy?
I could just fill in. Because I thought it was Age of Apocalypse where they had a storyline together. But then you can give more information. But basically, there's a storyline where they do get together. He's able to create like a very thin layer of magnetism, electricity across his skin. So she's not actually touching him. But there's a whole storyline where they have a child and everything.
There's another. There's one. I believe it's Age of Apocalypse, and I think it's canon as well. Because I just remember like there's a cave. There's a cave, and they're in the cave, and like, yeah, he manipulates his ability so that she can feel him, and it's not an issue. And it's like, well, what went down in that cave over there? And which is why what they're calling back to, which it seems they're calling back to. There was a great post on Twitter where a person was like, this is an interesting take on the X-Men because now we're seeing what happens when people get things and when it's taken away. Now, what happens when Cyclops has to, instead of leading, he's following? What happens when Rogue, who wants to touch someone, oh yeah, now you did get to touch someone here. What happens to Storm, who's seen as a goddess, now is more like, gets that godhood taken away. Like, it's all these different things of like, oh, you get what you want, now what? Or it's like, oh, you get a change to what you're used to, now what? How will you proceed?
Man, shoot. I am still hooked on they had a baby. I haven't been able to get past that thought because man, them powers, woof, boy, even in the heat of the moment is still powering, huh? I mean, because the whole thing is at some point in time, I mean, I'm gonna go there. All right. Oh. In the heat of the moment, you might not always have full control. of your
Magneto said you might not always have he has no
I thought he was talking about Cyclops and Cyclops and Jean, but even then, I'm like, well, then you just wear your glasses, or two. It's funny because we saw. If I'm thinking, speaking of Cyclops and Jean in particular, well, Jean can keep his powers in check. One, two. It's kind of like when you saw Cyclops in control, when the Executioner was beating the brakes off him. First of all, who throws a bow staff at someone's head like that? That's crazy. But like you saw, like, oh yeah, like his visor was knocked off. He could have just opened his eyes and blew him away, but the problem was he might have got some bystanders in the back too. And it shows like Scott's control. We're like, I gotta sit here and take this ass whooping. But like he held his eyes closed the entire time, even as he was about to die, until Morph came in and saved his ass, which I really like too. Like, oh, you have all these amazing powers and everything like that. However, motherfucker, you still human. Anybody, it's a team. You might have an off day, you might have an on day. Anybody can get got, and it's good you have a team because, like, oh, Scott's having an off day because he's getting the brake speed off him. I'm on it, and you see the role everybody plays, especially when they were jumping the Sentinels too. Everybody plays a role, and we help each other. It's a mutant circuit. We combine our powers. We that's the difference.
Speaking of which, with everybody helping each other, does it help that Jean and Scott are trying to now fly off into the sunset right at the time in which it feels like they're needed the most? I mean, I'm sure that there's context for those who've already read to the end of this story, but is this helpful for Scott and Jean? Why does Jean want to retire so bad? Like, it's only been 2 years since the incident.
They've been fighting this. They've been fighting this since they were 15. What are you talking about?
What 2 years are you talking about? What 2 years?
Well, it's been 2 years since Charles is gone, right? Like, Charles has only been gone for...
No, then I don't know where you don't get any... Where do you get your timelines from?
I thought they
since Charles is gone, like, okay, yeah, I'm like, but they've been fighting this fight since they were 15 years old. That's what I'm...
But they're leaders now. Like, they're the
leaders.
Everybody needs to retire, dog. Okay?
Right, it's also like, oh yeah, like Charles might be funding this bitch, but who's the motherfucker they look to when the robots start shooting? Scott, since he was 15 years old. But that's also a good thing. Like, there comes like the adversity. Like, are we gonna do this for the rest of our lives, dog? And like, oh, at what point do you give off the? What point can you then pass the baton as well? Because that was from the storyline too. Because like, and you're saying Jean, are we sure that's Jean? Because we saw another woman that appeared at the very end of episode 2 that looked just like her. Ooh. So it's Jean, and that's the whole thing too. Scott left the X-Men because Storm took the leadership, right? And it's like, well, okay, now who am I outside of this? So they're playing around with that. And so, who am I outside of this? Then he meets Madeline Pryor, and then they have a kid and everything. And it's like, oh shit, fatherhood. But then Storm takes that leadership role, and Madeline is the one that tells Scott, like, yo, motherfucker, like, all you know is the mutant fight. Can you balance a checkbook? Can you pass a job interview, motherfucker? No, you can't. So like, yeah, you're so onto this cause, but you can't, you know what I mean? Who are you outside the cause? So they're playing with that here. Like, yo, okay, is this not a bad time to bow out? Like, we're about to have a kid. We want to go on missions with this kid strapped gunning and shit. Nah, man, it's time. Oh. And you have other folks that can't. And it seems it's almost a godsend that Magneto is. They're like, okay, let him handle that. Our lives are different now. Our lives have changed. Maybe we can come back later on when the kid's grown or whatever. We still feel that way, but like, it's not a bad thing. Like, oh wait, we need the leadership. Y'all, you had that shit since I was fucking 15, dog, knocking this nigga's block off.
Here's my point, though, bro. Like, if he goes away, doesn't the leadership start to crumble? Everything that they built since they were 15, everything that they've been fighting for, everything that they've been trying to keep together with this whole mutant world living alongside the humans, and we're going to now entrust it with Magneto, the motherfucker who was literally leading the other side of this argument just because he's showing some signs of conforming to the Xavier doctrine. Now... But your point is made with Jean.
But also like, oh, it's trying to Magneto. Like, all right, cool. Magneto might be the motherfucking fun and got all that shit. Cool. Storm is right there as well, and we saw her leadership when Scott was gone. Who was the one leading when Magneto was trapped? He wasn't giving orders. Who was the one giving orders? I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to shut the fuck up right now, so maybe you'll even survive this if you be quiet. Don't think. Don't speak. You know what I mean? Be quiet. That was Storm.
So now that Storm Okay, because that's another big part of this story. And thank y'all for bearing with me through the musical. Musical boxes. I'm trying to, make this give us all some time here. But the Storm storyline is very tragic to me.
Yeah.
All right. This shit fucked with my soul. Like when I tell you, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. So our queen, Aurora Monroe. All right. God damn it. She tries to jump in the way of a bullet that was meant for this motherfucker, right? And unfortunately, it hits her. And what happens as a result? We are now left with a Storm who evidently seems to be struggling to even use her own powers. Maybe she doesn't have powers anymore. Maybe they never come back. Maybe they do. Maybe she quits. All I know is that at the end of this episode, she was like, fuck this X-Men shit. I got to bust a ride. What is going on? Are we looking at something that happened in the comic book, Omar?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't want to know the ending.
It's not it's not a, I won't tell you the ending, but it's, you want to take this one, Tiffy? The journey that she's on?
Please.
Yeah, this is ultimately, it's weird because this is ultimately how we get Mohawk Storm. There is a moment in the comics, the life-death arc, where she loses her power in the same way, only in the comic books, she's taken the bullet for another white person, for Rogue, but she basically takes a hit that is not meant for her, and it results in her having no powers, and that it just starts her journey. She has to figure out who she is, what her purpose is, because she no longer is able to connect or control the weather, and that's when she adopts her Mohawk. So that's just also what's kind of strange about this, them starting this series with her and the Mohawk, as opposed to giving us that moment in her journey. It makes me feel like the Mohawk was introduced more as shock value, because if they were going to introduce this storyline anyway, why not let that be part of it? Like, she changes her hair, and that is going to be symbolic of her going through this very real change. So it is something that happens in the comic books. And it could lead to other characters being introduced that play a really pivotal role in what happens there. So, yeah.
And it's after this happens where Storm loses her powers, when she comes back and she wants to be part of the team, talking to Scott like, "Hey, this role of leadership, what we about to do?" Because like, I'm ready to lead now. And Scott's like, "Well, you don't have powers." I was like, "All right, I'll fight you for it." All right, let's do it. And she's like, I won't use my powers at full blast. Like, it's okay. And Storm, she's crafty. She outcrafts Scott and basically makes him stand down with his own powers. Because she didn't they weren't throwing hands, but she trapped him up, took his visor, and was like, okay, you could win, but you'd kill me if you open your eyes. I beaten you. And Scott, it's its own pride against him. And Tiffany says this in a video, like if Scott was a different mutant, he'd be like, I don't care. Open his eyes. Like, it's humiliating for Scott, but it also leads like, okay, Storm I don't have to have powers to be nice with her. I don't have to have powers. I'm still as important as I was before, even without my powers. And for Scott, oh shit, who am I outside this leader role? Who am I outside the X-Men? And then there's other shit where they meet back up, and Scott's reminding her, well, you're the one in charge, not me. You got to explain this shit. And and getting her comfortable in that role too, supporting of that, even though this was a humiliating thing for him. You got beat by Muff, like, that's crazy. But like we see that journey with Storm. Yeah, that's like, what? You got crossed over by someone without that's insane.
Question for the mutant ignorant. How if Jean Grey has psychokinetic and psycho she has the ability to permeate someone's thoughts and brain. Why isn't she able to do that with Scott?
What do you mean?
Like, doesn't Jean Grey have the ability to, as Professor X was able to influence people's thoughts and to
make them do stuff? Okay, yeah. What do you?
So, is she unable to do that with Scott Summers?
In regards of what?
If they're fighting each other. Right?
Storm.
I'm sorry. It was Storm that was fighting Cyclops. You know what?
Yeah, no. It wasn't.
How is Jean fighting? All right,
Stop, man. Why are they fighting? Like, no. It was a duel. It's a duel. It's a duel. Like it's all agreed. It's a duel. Like we're gonna duel for leadership. Like it wasn't just like we were just throwing hands for leadership.
Okay, my bad.
I think that does bring up an interesting point though about powers and who's considered more powerful. The fight between Scott and Storm, even though Storm has no powers, it's very similar to when Jean and Emma do fight, because a lot of time the comparison there is Jean being so much more powerful than Emma, and Emma's like, oh, I'll never be as strong as a psychic as Jean Grey, but she's craftier, and she's it's like the difference between having like a broadsword or a scalpel. Like a broadsword is a good deal more powerful than a little scalpel that a surgeon will use, but you can get real tactical with a scalpel. Like you could get in there and cause some damage that's a lot more slippery, a little harder to detect, and that's kind of the difference. It's not always about who's more powerful. In the case of Scott and Storm, she outwitted him. She wasn't stronger than him. She outwitted him. I like that the X-Men, they draw that parallel. It's not about power necessarily or strength.
It's also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you, Tiff.
You're fine.
That's also one of the reasons why I think that the dynamic between Cyclops and Wolverine is so interesting, because Wolverine is blunt. He's a weapon. I mean, he's even been referred to as a weapon. Tact, not necessarily his strong suit. That's why Scott has always been kind of the leadership role. But in this particular series, the whole Jean saga seems to still be going on, bro. Like, I thought we was past this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll be still simping over. Look, Nolly, you know Wolverine is in love with Jean Grey, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. But she done had a whole baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not happening.
That don't stop nobody.
That don't stop nobody.
Nolly, what is it going to take to get Wolverine to kind of realize? Look,
not a baby, I'll tell you that right
now. What? I mean,
he drove her to the hospital.
I'll be the pappy. That's what he said.
So you think that it's just going to be? I mean, I don't know how it works in the comics. I mean, the X-Men have so many comics, but does Wolverine? I mean, all right, look.
You want to show him your shirt, Omar?
All right.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let's get the idea. What?
Right. So what we're looking at, that's the rooms that they have. This is at the treehouse.
Okay.
At the 7th treehouse. But basically, that's Scott's room, Jean's room, and Wolverine's room. And as you can see, they're all connected.
The moon base.
So,
so
as far as where it goes in the comics, them niggas are very happily in a throuple.
Whoa, wait a minute. Wait, whoa. Hold on, keep that shirt. Sorry, Tiffy. Keep that shirt up there. Hold the fuck up. Are you telling me?
Yeah. So that's Scott, Jean, and then Logan's room over on the side, and you can see how they're all connected in the middle, because in that page in the comic books, they're showing us the schematic of the moon base. So we see other rooms. They're not built that way. Like, even if like architecturally there's 3 rooms on a side, they are not connected with that open doorway. You know, like when you see blueprints from a house, they have bedrooms that connect, and there are also, it's just heavily coded that is a functioning throuple.
And that's it's Scott's house. It's called the Summers Clan house. It's on the blue area of the moon. It's got Jean, Scott, Wolverine. It has their son Cable, who was a teenager at the time, Rachel Grey as well, and I think Vulcan, his other brother, the third brother. There's no room for Alex. They don't have
there's never room for Alex.
Havoc don't get a room, but like it's the Summers Clan house. And there's a section where there's a comic book where because it's the Krakoa era now. It's like, we'll do things differently. And Scott tells Logan, like, hey, I know you're not into this, but we're gonna go down to. We're planning on taking the kids to the beach. If you know, I know you're not really into that kind of thing, but I think it'd be nice if you joined us. And then he's like, oh, and then Logan says, Jean in bikini, and then Scott says, Scott in a Speedo. He's like, oh, that's a sight too. And then they start talking about like this other thing that's happening with
them niggas flirting. They flirt, like it's so heavily coded without them coming right out and saying like they're all together. It's so coded, because why would Wolverine care about seeing Scott in a Speedo? Why would Scott even suggest it? They're fucking. I'll tell you why. It's because they're fucking.
And before that, he's out there. He's like, He's like, oh, you can't sleep, and he's like, no. And he's like, oh, it's all that hair. It's too hot with the covers. It's too, and then you're too cold without the covers on. Literally, what Scott says when he sits down next to him, and then they get into the beach conversation. Then they get into this whole politics conversation that's happening.
The fuck up, Ty. Are you hearing this? Ty, do you approve of evidently there? First of all, I was interested in the fact that Omar did the show from the back for like 2 minutes. Did y'all see he had his back?
After you told him to turn back around.
I did, and he turned right on back around. He turned right on back. You doing the show from the back. But Ty, I mean, listen, they're joining the world, the modern day world, bro, of polyism. It has entered our Marvel universe, bro. Are they doing it right? A three bedroom suite, all of which connecting doors. This is not your Holiday Inn. We at the Peabody at the penthouse, homeboy. Is this going right?
Peabody at the penthouse.
I mean, according to the episodes that I saw on 97. Wolverine was very, very offended that they didn't talk to him and tell him that they were planning. He told Jean, I guess we keeping secrets now. We keeping secrets now. All right, cool. You know what I mean? Like that. There was some get back in there. Like, yeah, well, you know. But it's you know, their relationship has always been really, really funny, funny style. But it's very, I don't think that Wolverine at this point in this X-Men 97 is in love with Jean. I think he loves Jean, and will always love Jean. That's just a part of their relationship. But there is a level of respect that I see that he does have for Scott, that maybe didn't shine through in the original X-Men, because they were always at each other's throat.
Yep.
But this one, like, even like when Jean and Scott were, I wouldn't say fighting, but were angry a little bit at each other. You remember when Scott came in, he was like, Wolverine said something like, you know, she's in there, or you know, go in there, bub. Something, you know, something Wolverine, you know, the thing that he says, but you can clearly see that he's always going to love. He's like, he's like, bro, she's like sis, but they're fucking.
You think so?
Look, listen. When it came time, listen, who was home with Jean when everybody else was out?
That was gone.
Wolverine. So, and look, that was by design. That was by design that they were there, because like she didn't like hesitate. It's about to happen. He's like, what? He thought he was about to get some. He was like, he's okay. She was like, no, the baby's like, oh, the baby. Oh, okay.
That man thought they were under attack. Apocalypse.
Yeah, when they said he's
like, who's here?
He was ready to fight somebody.
He was bugged up.
I think that's how he gets prepared to have sex. I think Wolverine is like this.
I think he's misreading that situation.
All of them are at attention.
Come on, yes.
You think that from that situation? It clearly says he's here and Wolverine's looking for a fight. I'm not sure how you got old, deep, pregnant woman from that.
Hey, let us live in this imaginary world. Yes, you think that I
think he channels his Super Saiyan and he stands at attention, my man. That's what I think.
That is wild. This is wildness.
He's like, you want to see a magic trick?
Yo, you think like Magneto says in the first one, that magnificent metal doesn't go all through your body, does it? Like you saying that shing, you saying that he's got a shing, like he can, like, you know what I'm saying? What? Nah, bro, that's nasty, bro.
You know,
The
you
fun
know how
thing
dogs
about-
have that little piece that comes out.
Yeah, well, you know, you do bring up an interesting point, because I do believe there was a series where Wolverine did lose all his metal, and it was bones coming out, and we know there's a bone. You know what? We're gonna keep it moving.
No, Omar, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah. I saw the
I thought the biggest thing was in this before getting to move on, like it was dope seeing like two big things. All the slander and shit that Scott Summers used to get for 20 years because of the Fox movies, and then in the animated series, like, oh, he's a pushover, he's a Boy Scout. They really let him shine. And then on Twitter, someone's like, yo, this was a real like love letter to Cyclops, the first episode. Well, actually, a love letter to Cyclops and an appreciation for Storm, because like Cyclops got to shine like in these three big moments. But we gotta say the biggest moment was, these Sentinels are back up, hitting that shit and say, yo, give them the forecast. And then Omega level threat detective.
Omega level threat.
And then seeing Storm, I'm like, why? Wait, okay, Storm, why is she all the way by herself over here, like in the desert? Oh, she has to be, because if I'm going to unleash my powers, I can't be with the team because y'all motherfuckers might get hurt. Like this shit's going wild. And just seeing that, I'm like, okay, yeah, like these like it's Shaq and Kobe. Like it really, truly, especially in the next episode too. So it's really dope seeing like this. All right, we're going to correct some things and also give some shine for some things. And Tiffany, you had mentioned this earlier too. Like, yo, even their power sets, the powers do way more damage here. It's not just like a Gambit throws something like, okay, small explosion. It's like, oh shit, that like Beast is flipping Sentinels. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Gambit, like they're taking them down. Scott cut one in 3 pieces off when they opened the roof of the Blackbird. Like the power scaling is better, and also like the appreciation for these characters. Everyone's getting to shine more. All right, Storm and Bishop got knocked down here, but then Bishop got to shine shooting that shit with Morph. When they flip sides, he absorbed the hit, shot it back, and Storm getting to fucking shred everybody. So it's really not a push and pull, but like a take and give with like shine and spotlight.
Ty.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Omar just said, that very first scene of the first episode was to showcase Scott, and it showcased that he's been in the gym working the fuck out. Like there was a muscle on top of muscles. I was like, dude, bro, like,
the fuck is this?
Like, who is this? I was like, this is not something I know. But yeah, I mean the power levels, he's absolutely correct. It is a significant change. In the original X-Men, I'm gonna be honest with you. Outside of outside of Beast being a genius, he was about the weakest fucking X-Men that I've ever seen. Like it always they were saving him from something. Like it went and so to see Beast finally, channel his superhuman strength, and you actually see it was definitely, the much better. Much
more showing instead of telling.
Yeah, exactly.
Three more quick questions, and then let's move on to From the Ashes. I wanted to know what everybody's thoughts just jump out on Gambit.
His finance.
That part.
Okay, yes, you feeling Gambit coming out this time?
As a kid, he was always the hottest freaking X-Men.
Always hottest. Yeah.
Oh my god, like just I don't know them eyes. I don't know. I just want him to do something to me with them damn eyes, like.
Oh yeah, I like it.
What was is that? Like just Gambit, like let him run.
I don't even know. And his card trick, I'm ready. Show me a trick. Let me see it.
Show me you trick. Go ahead and start tricking.
You feel the same way, Nolly? You feel the same way about Gambit? Gambit's the hottie on the job.
If I ever wake up on a Saturday morning and go into the kitchen and that man is in a crop top making send me over the counter right there.
Whoa, my God! I didn't know Gambit was pop. I was in Tiffy. Evidently, this is a thing. Gambit is the hotness on the X-Men squad.
Hell yeah.
Why do you think we're so salty that they don't showcase him? We're like, and it's mostly like us women because he's the hottest X-Men. Like Scott, okay, you know what I'm saying? He's the, he's the typical pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? Wolverine's a typical bad boy, rugged bad boy. You know, with the accent. You know, we like to, but Gambit, he just like he hits all of the views.
Don't even gotta charm me.
That part, it's just that Nolly's right. That crop top, it did something for me. I was like, oh, they put him in a crop top. Hold on, I was like, look at them abs though. Okay, Gambit, like I see you. Yeah, just saying.
Yo, okay, so now, did you all did you approve of the depiction of Gambit this time? Like the accent, is it accenting for you? The whole New Orleans Cajun, the raging Cajun thing is still working for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's since day one.
What about Rogue's accent? Did Rogue's accent did it hold, or is it as strong as it was back then? Does everybody agree?
The only voice I have an issue with is that to me, Wolverine sounds like someone who's cosplaying what Wolverine should sound like.
Yes, thank you, Nolly. Oh my
the
god.
only one I had a problem with. It sounded like someone cosplaying as Wolverine, voicing Wolverine.
Yeah.
Is it because we're so accustomed to what we hear as Wolverine that we're now like, nah,
they just need to hire Hugh Jackman, and then just
no, I don't want Hugh Jackman's voice. I want the original voice, the voice from X-Men versus what was it? The voice of
Marvel
X-Men
Capcom
versus Marvel Capcom with "Let's Go, Bub." You know what I'm saying? Berserker Barrage. You know what I'm saying? I need that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't, this whole little and I like the fact that they still use Bub. You know what I mean? But what say you, Omar? Are the accents accenting for you, man? Is everything falling into sync?
I was fine with it. I think I'm just gonna point out all of Tiffany's points because we were on a podcast before talking about this. You said the Rogue one was the only one that was like the voice was higher, but I guess you can tell like she had aged. But I'm also like just use the aged version of her voice, and it's been X amount of years. It's fine. The voices were the voices were fine. I saw folks complain about
so both of those actors returned. Cal Dodd
Wolverine,
returned as the voice of Wolverine, so it's the same voice from the 90s. And Lenore Zan is the voice of Rogue. My thing with Lenore Zan, like Omar mentioned, it's still her, but it sounds like she's trying to sound like her younger self.
Yeah.
And so she's overshooting a little bit. So Rogue's voice is a little bit higher. It's just pitched higher. If it was a musical note, it wouldn't be hitting the same. It's not in the same key as it was before. So and that's why she sounds a little bit funny. It's like she's trying to sound like a younger version of herself.
That's a good way to put it, Tiffy.
I applaud the fact that they bring back the original voice actors, including the young lady that played Storm, who I had the opportunity to interview not too long ago. We played some of the this week, so that worked out. I should have brought it for this week, but we'll talk about it because this is an episodic ordeal, so we'll bring those up in the future. Two last points on X-Men, and this one I'm going to you, Omar. In this episode, it was very, very much spotlighted, including in the advertisements, that to me, My X-Men. It was the name of the episode. And I just wanted you to kind of expound on the significance of that phrase as it pertains to Scott Summers and the X-Men and the X-Men in general.
It's their battle call. Like, hey, somebody about to get fucked up. To me, my X-Men, like, we all show up. But also, it's funny because going into like the subplot of that, like, to me, my X-Men, like it's almost like it's the calling card of the X-Men. Like, we band together, and we saw in the episode with like the introduction of Sunspot, Roberto da Costa, where he's like, oh, no, I'm like, he's being hunted, the black kid being hunted as an Afro-Cuban kid, Afro-Latino kid,
Brazilian.
Being hunted. Say it again. Afro-Brazilian. My fault. I'm like, I'm going to do all the fucking things. Him being hunted, and they'd be like, oh no, I'm a good one. I'm one of the good ones and whatnot. And like, it's that. But like, these motherfuckers don't care about that, man. Like, no. Even, and he talked about him being like rich and things like that, and like, oh, this isn't a problem with me. Like, it's like I can just pleasant my way out of this. And Jubilee, who it mirrors when Jubilee, the very first episode we saw, Jubilee was being hunted by Sentinels. Now she's here helping this kid being hunted by the Friends of Humanity. these motherfucking these racists coming here to do to either what sell to capture mutants, kill mutants, like there's a bounty on mutants, and he thinks his money and his being polite and respectability will get him out of this. And Jubilee's the one to tell him, nah, dog, no. Like, I don't know, you in this for real now. And how ironic that he's drawn not as dark as he is in the comic books. Then we see his power, and his power makes him even blacker and whatnot. And it's like how he's like kind of like, yeah, let's just say it. He's like kind of ashamed of that and shit too. So that calling of like to me my X-Men is almost like we'll see, we'll definitely see him later, but it'll be nice to see if like he like kind of gives in to his not gives in, but like accepts this mutant part of him. And also it's funny that like especially in episode 2, like the Executioner, when he's talking about like, oh, it's just the whining that you mutants do. Like that's the thing I hate about you. Seeing a lot of people agree with that, agree with this man online, it's just really funny because hold on because like people are like finding points with what the Executioner said, right? It's just like Trump. It's just like Trump. Oh, you're speaking to these people. Like, yeah, I think that way too. When you are siding with the motherfucker that's clearly the villain, then clearly, like, it's so funny that we want X-Men to come back. Yeah, we want X-Men to come back. Like, oh, it taught us these things. You're now older and siding with the dude that's clearly trying to kill and who's on the who's the enemy. You're siding with the enemy because he makes a good point. No one's trying to hear this guy out. Since when the fuck do we hear out Nazis, fam? Since when the fuck do we do that? So it's really telling it now, all these years later, as we've grown up and revisiting X-Men, we're now seeing like, oh, were you really fans of the show? Like, were you really hearing the message? You know what I mean? Or maybe you just like the like laser show and everything like that. Like, you're not the X-Men. You're Friends of Humanity. You're Henry Gyrick. You're a Bolivar Trask. You're the motherfucker programming the Sentinels. That's who you really are. That's who you grew up to be because you didn't get the message. Or maybe you got the message, but it wasn't for you because everybody else was making really good points. The wrong fucking points, dude. So it's just funny to see that happening as well.
I was unaware of the online.
Oh yeah.
That's the whole thing. But what do you expect? I mean, that's where we are right now. You know?
Exactly.
So that really sucks. But it is good to know where for me my X-Men. What's up, Ty? Real quick. Are you muted, bro?
Are you muted?
I was also saying to to me my X-Men was also like a way of paying homage to Professor X.
Yeah.
And it's like the passing of a torch as far as leadership goes.
Right.
So that whole, to me, my X-Men was basically him accepting the role of leadership and kind of in that moment, relishing in that moment. Like, to me, my X-Men, like, this is me finally taking that step and asserting myself as the leader and like living in it and relishing in that moment. So I think that whole, to me, my X-Men, it meant more because Charles is gone. You know, now what his legacy is now passed on to Scott, and now Scott is in that moment, especially with everything that was going on. It just seemed like it was like a kind of a tribute to because believe it or not, Xavier has said that in the last season. He has said to me, my X-Men. He just didn't say it that way. Like that was,
no one was getting jumped at the time.
He was just like to me, my X-Men, you know what I mean? So
okay. Dig it. Now, in addition to that, I was curious before we move on from the X-Men, Tiffy, I understand that you had some exclusive access without spoiling or anything. Can you tell us whether or not we have much to look forward to in some of the upcoming episodes of X-Men 97?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's what you got, guys. So look forward to it. X-Men 97 is definitely going to be worthy of your attention, according to our illustrious Tiffy Starchild. Now, X-Men is not only in our news because of what's going on with the X-Men 97 show, but it is also in the news because of a X-Men from the Ashes that I believe is also set to hit the bookshelves this upcoming summer. And I was wondering if our illustrious literary giant Omar could give us an idea as to what to expect from this upcoming series. Bro, What's going on with the X-Men from the Ashes? What are we looking for?
So now we're at the Krakoa era was started back in 2019 with Jonathan Hickman, and we were living good. We was living good, our own mutant nation, our own mutant laws and shit. Like, sure, we had a few errors and whatnot, but we was living, and now that era is done and gone. And so now you're saying, okay, what comes next for the X-Men? It'll be 3 separate books. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and I think Exceptional X-Men. Exceptional X-Men will be written by Eve Ewing. And I might as well do that. I have it in front of Eve Ewing, and the art will be by Carmen Canero. Eve Ewing is also writing Black Panther too, and I think she's the second Black woman to have done that because Nnedi Okorafor was the first. All these first, and she might be the first Black woman to write. No, Vida Ayala was. They were as well. Sorry, I'm trailing off. But like basically, it's in short, it's the X-Men. Like, oh, there's no longer like a base of operations, so there's 3 X-Men teams dealing with 3 separate things. And one team is like, I got Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Magic, Oya, Temper, who's not formerly Oya, Magic, and Juggernaut. And so like they're on like I think it's west, middle, east. They're doing like that. So like there's no base of operations. They're all mobile now too, and some are seen as like outlaws and things like that. So like we're just I sound depressed because it's like, oh, we're scattered again. We're in Chicago, Illinois, Chicago. They'll be in New Orleans, and one team will be. Where's the third team at? Not where the fuck they should be. Where the fuck they at. But like it's just scattered that way, and it's gonna be 3 separate adventures and teams dealing with three different things too, and we'll see. There are more books coming too. Storm is getting a solo series. There'll be an X-Force book and an X-Factor book. And it looks like the rumor is because Storm we see her in a suit and that fuck ass Mohawk is back. No texture to it or anything. And it looks like she's running for Congress, but there's no what's it called? It's not confirmed yet. But it looks like she's like going for Congress, and a lot of us are sad because she was the voice of the solar system for us for other solar systems. And now she's gonna run for Congress and do fucking what? Because these motherfuckers don't do. Anyway, it seems like a step down. But we'll see if that is the actual case or whatever.
Yeah, that's why a lot of X-Men fans are upset because Krakoa was this great age of like mutants finally like prospering and having a chance of happiness. It's like as a Black person only being presented like struggle porn and like always showing us at our worst, and then we get a good stretch of things where everything is nice, and then someone comes along and it's like, let's put them back in the struggle because that's what the people want.
Sells, baby.
The people know we want to see the X-Men actually get to enjoy existing, not constantly facing a genocide of their people. But when we have that, they're like, let's take them back to the mansion. The mansion is trashed. We can rebuild it. Like no one wants to go back to that fuck ass mansion. So
there's a whole planet full of black and black-coded mutants, Araco, that Storm was sitting on the council for, like that. And so now it's like, okay, we're back here. We're like, hopefully that doesn't get retconned away. Hopefully, like that's still there, but like we're kind of shifting focus. Like, oh, now we're not going to see like black and black-coded mutants anymore in their own book. Like, so it's like, oh, and a lot of these, like, they were saying like, oh, if you don't see your favorite X-Men here, just wait though, they will appear. But it's like you're putting the same like. It's man. Like, look at that. It's a white team, dog. Those are mad white teams. Like what? Like you got, I just from remembering, I think she's called Temp. I don't even have to look at it. Temper's the one Black woman there. You got Jubilee, Asian, Quenon, who's Asian, and I look at it. Yeah. Oh, and 2 new characters that'll be with on the Exceptional X-Men, 2 new characters, and more new characters with the motherfuckers that been around didn't even get to. It's a sad. We're going for it, but this is what it's like to be an X-Men fan. It's a sad time for it. We're grieving. So it's just that.
There's so much going on at once. Like they're being pushed through a universe in one universe. They're running for Congress in another. What race would you classify Nightcrawler as?
He's human. He's a mutant. He's white. I mean, he's German. When he used the image inducer, he's white. He goes with that. So I mean, that's how he sees himself.
He's basically a blue white.
He's
man.
German. So.
Yeah. Who is this? Forgive my ignorance here, please. Forgive my ignorance. But for those of us who aren't as caught up, if you look at the very middle, at the very top, there's a young lady who's
on the ice, kind of giving me
Yeah.
Iceman vibes. Could you give me some idea of who this character is and the background?
Her code name used to be Oya. It now changed to Temper, and she's she debuted before Todoroki in My Hero Academia. One half of her controls ice, the other half of her controls fire. She was almost like the village that where she came from. They kind of, I think, saw her as like a witch, and she was seeing herself as a monster as well. Fun fact: she's someone that she had to kill. Wolverine. The Hellfire Gala, the Hellfire Club was attacking where these mutants were, and a lot of folks were in danger, and her teammates were in danger. They were all freed up. She was the only person there, and Scott Wolverine was saying, "Don't do anything. I'm on my way." Scott told her, "Hey, do what you got to do. Whatever you feel is best. Do what you got to do." She killed everybody. She murdered everyone. She saved everyone. But then that also was like. She's like, she's seeing mutants as like monsters and everything. But that was for a time. Then she got like, I don't want to say indoctrinated, but like the belief out of that. So she's always struggled. She struggled with mutantdom for a very long time. She goes with Wolverine to the school to like just try and be a kid and everything. And she becomes like one of Wolverine's like daughters and everything. But she was like, and Wolverine blamed Scott. Like, yo, you put her in that position. He's like, there's a war going on outside. Like, I don't know if you know this, but like you want to teach them in the school like. Okay, I want to teach them to defend themselves. Both are right. They're not right and they're not wrong. But it's just like we child soldiers. I don't know what you want, man. I was a child soldier when I was 15. Like I turned out all right. And they're like, no, the fuck you did. But like that's one of her big stories was that. And also in Krakoa, she's been what's it called? She was on the Exiles because she defended the land and she got in trouble because she killed a human that was interfering. Then you kind of find out the flaws in these laws where she was put into a pit in the prison where they said there would be no prisons. So now she's back on the team, so we'll see where she's at now. But like Victor Lavelle did really good work with her and talking about like institutional the industrial complex and like what mutant freedom really looks like, and she was a part of a team that was going to do that. So now it looks like hopefully she's in a better place with herself and her abilities and whatnot. Well, she's great. She's a great character.
I was about to say, man, Shoto Todoroki vibes in a center with a fro. Get the fuck out of here, man. Yep. I mean, give me more, please. So yeah, I might have to check this out. For those of y'all that are into it, man, we will check back when this releases and we will give our thoughts on what this is popping. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the only thing that's going on with Marvel right now. There's a lot that's being discussed. I don't know if you all were made aware of this, but as of recently, it was announced that Marvel may not be moving forward with certain projects, and I don't know how to feel about this. This for me, it gives me we're giving up vibes. It gives me the trolls win vibes. It gives me we don't want any more backlash from the anti-woke mob vibes. And I don't know if that's just me or not. Maybe I'm projecting. Is there anybody with any feelings about this on the panel, or are we happy that these projects aren't moving forward? These weren't the most highly acclaimed projects. I mean, I still think that Eternals.
I'll dispute that.
Good. I still think Eternals was great, but for some reason, the world had their issues with it. Even though if you go back and watch it as a standalone movie, it holds up. The shit holds up. It fucking holds up. I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm sorry.
No, just because I think that that's why it's important to support projects that have marginalized people in the lead role, like the Marvels. Agreed. Like that's why it's important. That's why even if it's not the best film, you have to understand that there is something bigger riding on it. They want those films. We want those films to be successful so that they can continue to be made. Even if it's not great out the gate, there has to be room for conversations to happen. That way the next one can be better. So
with to me, it seems like almost like you're like, oh, the trolls won. I'm like, it seems like for me, almost like scary money don't make money. I'm like, oh, y'all like, oh, now instead of taking these risks like we did before, but like Will always talks about like how the golden age of TV was back when HBO was weird because they had a show like 6 Feet Under, Oz, and shit like that. Like they were taking risks with weird things. Ant-Man came out. I was like, I'm like, who the fuck needs Ant-Man? But it was fun. Guardians of the Galaxy. No one gave a fuck about these niggas. Dude made them fun. Like they did these. It's almost like an inverse, really. They take these characters you didn't know about, but so we can do these big risks with them. But now it seems like it worked. It worked, but now it seems like we're gonna shrink away from that. I'm really, and it's funny because like knowing people bash the Marvel, Captain Marvel. The first one, I'm like, because you didn't do origin stories, whatever. The second one, people were bashing it. Oh, we blah blah blah. Same thing with the Eternals. It's a bad movie. But yet, this effect seems to happen when that shit comes to streaming and everybody has access to it. If you have if you have the approach of having fucking Disney Plus or whatever, you have access to it, and you're like, well, hold on. Nah, this shit was actually banging. Like, wait, y'all are saying this is trash, but it's banging. And that seems to keep happening as well. As soon as everyone has access to this shit, then it's like, well, no, this wasn't as bad as it was led to believe. So stop fucking believing the goddamn sheep and go see the shit for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like that. But I'm like, I'm only just sad with the Eternals one and the Captain Marvel 3 because Scott Lang should have died in the third one. I don't know if we need an Ant-Man 4. I'm like whatever on that because he should have died in that. But that's a storytelling issue. But I'm like, it seemed, and also a big problem here is I think that the accountants are the accountants and the financial motherfuckers are the one that are like spearheading
too many decisions.
Yeah, instead of the writers and the dreamers, the ones that want to take risks. And so it's a very sad position. They're like, oh, you're already making billions, and so like, oh, but we need like your motherfuckers turn into Smog all of a sudden. Like, nah, we got a Hordar. We got no, we can't take any more risks. We might lose one. Like, whereas before, you should have kept that same energy. Whereas before, like, you believed in this shit and you took the risk, whether for good or bad.
I saw that same effect happen with Amazing Spider-Man. Like, everybody hated on the second one.
Sorry,
when it hit stars, like, holy shit, this shit was good. What's up, Yaz? I saw your hand up.
I just like with the Eternals, like just circling back to that. My biggest thing about that movie, I mean, like, you're right, it was hated on a lot by, a lot of the critics and a lot of the streamers that saw it, you know what I'm saying? And that's why that's what I mostly hate, about, just content is if someone watches their favorite streamer or, you know what I'm saying, their favorite person that they watch online and they tell them it's bad, they're like, oh, I'm not going to go watch this. You know what I'm saying? They don't even watch it for themselves. So it sucks because that, like Tiffy says, it ruins, you know what I'm saying, the chance for those movies to create more. Eternals is like one that definitely took a hit because the Black Knight was supposed to come from that movie. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was his origin story. We still haven't had no Black Knight. And how long has Eternals been out for? Like 2 years now. Wow. And still there's no talk about the Black Knight. They had this whole big build up and, and everything about, what the Galactus's hand and how it was breaking and everything towards the end and everything. Like, we've never even circled back to that. You know what I mean? Like, we've been doing all kinds of shit in the last 2 years, and now it's about to be another year coming, and we're still not even talking about any of that stuff. So when are we? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we ever going to circle back? Because, I mean, there was a lot of things that happened in that movie that, like, I'm still kind of, like, hanging on the edge of the seat of my pants. Like, when the fuck are we going to see, you know what I'm saying? Like, anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was so much in that movie that they were trying to prevent that didn't really get prevented because they failed.
Yeah, listen, I mean, to your point, yes, there's a fucking big ass hand sticking out of the ocean somewhere from a fucking celestial that now just there's no resolution. We're just gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're just gonna have a fucking big ass giant head and hand sticking out of the earth. And no resolution for this. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of questions that people just have forgotten because, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much stuff that have happened. And, like, no one really, not a lot of people really remember that movie because they didn't even really watch it. You know what I'm saying? But, like, that's a freaking Titan right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a sentinel hanging out of the earth right there. You know what I'm saying? That, like, I think his name was like it started with a T or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but, like,
Celestial.
Yeah, a celestial. Yeah, like, he's just chilling. You know what I'm saying, with one eyeball. So I don't know. I feel like I have questions, and no one has answered this. We've gone to space. We didn't see him when we went to space, and we came back. All right, that's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, just hear me out. We've been back and forth to space. We've been we have to see the Atlanteans come alive, you know what I'm saying, in Black Panther, you know what I'm saying? Like, but nobody's talking about this motherfucking giant dude hanging out of the damn earth.
That is because, this is MCU. This is not a one-off.
Right.
Like, they're in this movie answering questions about how come they didn't help when Thanos came around. They're in the movie talking about things that are happening in the MCU. So to just get rid of the Eternals and leave this big fuck somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean as if shit ain't
really still happen. And frankly, if I may, I still think that a lot of these characters didn't really get the fleshing out that they deserved. I still think Selma Hayek and Angelina Jolie's characters, frankly, were underappreciated in this fucking movie. Like, these are women that are in their golden years, you know, I mean, with all due respect, that are wielding weapons as if they are literally ninja assassin warriors trained with Kung Lao and Liu Kang somewhere in the mountains of the Outworld, and they're scrapping the movie. And I just can't help but think, like Tiffany says, if we don't support these now, all of us saw the movie. You know, I just feel like it's the same fuckers who are just trying to use. The one thing that Omar said that resonates, he's like, listen, man, we had Ant-Man, we didn't ask for it. Guardians of the Galaxy, we didn't ask for it. These movies did well. What is the underlying theme with that? Who are the lead characters in these movies? White men. I'm just going to say it out loud.
Yeah.
And whenever we veer away from the white men being the main cast member, the first one on the call sheet, we get this backlash. Oh, they're going woke. Oh, the women. We've been over this over and over again. And that's the thing that's sad about this announcement, is because these projects, with the exception of Ant-Man, even though I would dare say Ant-Man was starting to lean into the feminine realm as they were passing the torch to Cassie, they were given what's baby girl's name? The Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
Janet Van Dyne.
Yes, they were giving her more shine. This was a movie where the women were coming out of the woodwork. They already started with the Wasp in the sequel, so now they're starting to. So that, in my opinion, is why this sucks. Now, on the other side of that spectrum, we're not seeing that, and I'm glad we're not seeing that for things like Punisher. You know what I'm saying? Daredevil, which I love, but is that the reason? Is that what it is that drives these folks having to have that white male lead role? That's what makes these projects acceptable to you? Bucks, what's up, Ty?
That's you got a point.
I was just gonna say that I think just because the installments have been canceled doesn't mean the characters have been canceled. So you can still see these characters in other movies. You just won't see an Eternals movie or a Captain Marvel movie. But that doesn't mean these characters no longer exist in the MCU. So if they decide to go to Yaz's point about the Black Knight story was supposed to roll out in the Blade side, in the new Blade movie, but because of all of the Blade controversy and all of the stuff going on with that, that's probably why we haven't seen anything with the Black Knight, because that was the intention. With the characters that were in the Eternals and the stories that were kind of touched on in the Eternals, you could touch that on anything. You could touch that in the Fantastic Four. You could touch it because anything that's going to be dealing with interstellar or intergalactic, you can come back to those points at some point and add that to a storyline within the MCU. So I get, the disdain and a little bit of disappointment of not having those installments, but the characters still may surface in other movies.
Other ways, yeah.
Okay. I
had to readjust the camera.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think that gives me hope, Ty. I didn't think about that. That is true. We do still see some of the characters pop up from the Elder Realm into the current realm. So that's cool. And maybe you're right. Maybe there's some hidden language here. Maybe we're not getting an Eternals 2. Maybe we're not getting Ant-Man. Maybe we're getting the Wasp. Maybe we're getting a Cassie. Maybe we're not getting Captain Marvel. Maybe we're getting Monica Rambeau. Maybe there is a different way to go about framing these movies that I haven't considered and looked at it just as the demise of these sagas. What's up, Yaz?
Well, don't they have like new groups? You know what I'm saying? Like the Guardians broke up, but don't they have a new group replacing the Guardians? So, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, we may see them, at different points, in different times, you know what I'm saying? So that would be really cool to see those. But I still think the dude with the hand is
that's
all I'm saying is just like need to
I can just go back to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has to be addressed. You can't just put a giant celestial in.
It's been 2 years. I gotta
not talk about it. You know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
in She-Hulk, wasn't it like on the news?
Yeah, it was on the news in She-Hulk, but She-Hulk's not coming back either.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like the little bit of glimpse that we got, you know, not only it was like, hey, there's a hand popping out of the earth, you know, and it's like, okay, but
what's that about?
Yeah, like, you know, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, is a volcano gonna freaking put that thing alive? You know, like I have so many questions. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like
and one more thing to add too, Vince. Sometimes it may not even be what we think it is. Like some of these movies have shelf lives because the characters or the actors that play the characters either get tired of it, get older, or have other options. Paul Rudd has totally embraced being part of the Ghostbuster universe. So like he may be what is causing him to be more busy, you know, with other projects, and he might have just said, you know what, I'm gonna let the Ant-Man stuff go. And same thing with the Captain Marvel. She may have other ventures that she wants to pursue. You know, that's the thing about it. We got Robert Downey for how long we got him. He did what he did with the Iron Man character, and then they killed him off, and he's out here living his best life, you know, traveling and vacationing and getting high and
Oppenheimer-ing.
You know, doing whatever. Doing whatever you choose to do. So I think sometimes, I mean, as fans, we expect these people to work forever. We want them to be that character forever, but in reality, these people have lives, and they're like, "Look,
fuck your life, okay?"
I know, right?
Fuck out of here with this bullshit. Yeah. All right, look. It's been reported that Bradley Cooper, and I always go back to this, said that the highest check the biggest check he ever received in his life, that actually added up to all of the movies he's ever done combined, he made more than that for voicing Rocket, not even showing his face on a camera. These motherfuckers are banking, and yes, maybe they got other shit to do, but let me tell you, Disney and Marvel are firing off some of the biggest checks some of these motherfuckers have seen. And even though it's a large group, so they probably have to split it a little bit more, it's hard pressed for me to find a motherfucker saying, I'm cool on that Marvel shit, man. I'm doing this other shit over here. I don't know.
It's funny you mentioned Bradley Cooper, because Bradley Cooper is one of those people that actually is pursuing producing and directing as opposed to acting. So that, like, it may, you know, once you've accumulated a certain amount of money, then you start to think about what it is that I want to do that makes me happy. It's not so much about the money. And maybe writing movies and making movies of your own that you've always wanted to do is where you're at in your life at that point. So all I'm saying is we want them to be our superheroes forever. And that's cool, right. But they have other aspirations and maybe other desires. So we gotta.
Well, fuck you for having aspirations. Like, come on, man, do the shit do it for the people. What's up, Yaz?
I feel like probably Vin Diesel's another person that he made more money in
Marvel
than he ever did in the 10 movies that he has with family.
And this motherfucker has. I wonder what the fuck his script looks like when he gets his cheat. I am Groot. Okay, this time with inflection. I am Groot. Okay, this time sad. I am Groot. Okay, this time like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this motherfucker's getting the biggest check, saying 3 words over and over with different intonations, and you're considering other options? Fuck you. All right, there are no better options. You're not going to get better pay for sitting in a studio saying 3 words over and over for 3 separate sequels. It's not going to happen. Same thing for you, Bradley Cooper. Reevaluate life.
Produce art. Vin's like, fuck that. I want you. The only person I actually feel like that about is Tom Holland with Spider-Man. He's like, I kind of want to be more. I want to be a little more than Spider. I'm like, hey. You knew what this was when you signed up. All right.
Damn.
You knew what this was. Swing. Get the swinging in your underwear. Get back to it.
Shut that shit up. All right. You and Zendaya, you're on this road. It's beyond you at this point. It's the movie.
That was Dave Bautista.
I think that I'll quickly mention this because we're running low on time. I do think that Tom Holland is finagling the Spider-Man role correctly. I do think that his announcing of him not wanting to be Spider-Man forever
because he doesn't want to be Tobey Maguire, doesn't want to be Andrew Garfield, he doesn't want to be George. What's his name from Superman, the original Superman, who wasn't able to get any additional roles. Or he doesn't want to be Christopher Reeves. He's showing by doing these other roles, including some very, salacious ones, that he's open to not just being Peter Parker for his whole life. And to his credit, he said that he doesn't mind being Spider-Man again as long as it ushers in a new era of Spider-Man, aka a Miles Morales or maybe a Jessica Drew or who knows, even a Sunspot. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give him his credit for at least wanting to go out properly and usher in a new era. So I'll say that much. But moving kind of along, there's a few things, guys, that we wanted to talk about today that we may not be able to get to, but we will get to in the next few weeks. More than likely next week, specifically Invincible. There's no way we're going to get through Invincible in a couple minutes because there's way too much to talk about. The tea that is going on in this Invincible show. So we're not going to be able to get to that as much as I would like. We also, I did want to kind of at least at some point, not now, but talk about the fact that I know this isn't, in our wheelhouse too much, but they did announce that there's a possibility that our own Quicksilver may be playing the new 007, the new James Bond, which kind of flies in the face of what was originally announced as the new 007, which was obviously our sister from Miss Marvel. So that's something that we may discuss in the future. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a big Bond guy. I know it's a white guy, but I love the gadgets. I love Q. I love that shit. So that's the thing that I'm into. But before we get up out of here, there's a couple things I wanted to show. The one thing that I wanted to talk about specifically, well, there was a trailer that I wanted to show. I don't know if we're gonna have time for it this week, but I did want to bring up the fact that there's another video game out. Excuse me, not out, but that's coming out pretty soon, involving the X-Men, if I'm not mistaken, and it is called 1943, I believe it is. Right now,
that's Black Panther and Captain America.
Right. Sorry, not X-Men. I didn't mean X-Men. I'm sorry. A new Marvel game is what I meant to say. If I said X-Men, my apologies. But yeah, there's a Marvel game that's supposed to be hitting the screens here pretty soon, and I don't know anything about it, so I figured maybe we could watch a trailer on it real quick. But frankly, we're running low on time, so we'll do this possibly next week. There's one trailer that we have to show today, and that is, of course, for none other for our Star Wars loving panel. The Acolyte has dropped a trailer recently, and I figured we'd spend the last couple minutes getting a chance to watch this most recent trailer. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get this ready for the screen, and let us take a gander at the most at the Star Wars project of note that is set to hit the pictures pretty soon. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you none other than the Acolyte. And here it is. I think. All right, let's go.
Your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them.
Someone is killing Jedi. It doesn't make sense. What happened? I sensed darkness.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it. What is that?
Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, so I didn't know that. So this isn't going directly to theaters? This is going on Disney Plus?
It's a show. Yeah, it's a show.
This isn't a movie? I thought it was a movie.
No, it's a show.
Oh, you should be glad that it's not. No,
are you fucking kidding me? This is a fucking show. Okay, all right.
It is a prequel of people.
Yeah, this is the Old Republic, right? This is before any of our timelines. So this is back in the
Wookiee Jedi type shit.
What?
That's
Are we
cool.
going to see what was his name? Genji? The Wookiee Jedi?
Yeah, the young Wookiee Jedi. That's cool. Was that Trinity from the Matrix?
Yep.
Yes.
Yo, look, I'm seeing color. I'm seeing lightsabers. I'm seeing force wielding. I'm seeing I'm seeing.
This is the High Republic, isn't it?
I'm seeing Kung Fu. I don't know. I'm seeing a whole bunch. I was like,
that's what I'm saying.
Bro, like that choreography looks like straight. Like I was like, yo, Rick, what?
Thank you, Donnie Yen, for your role in come on.
Oh, you talking about in Rogue?
In Rogue One.
Rogue One,
for bringing the martial arts shit to the screen, bro. So now we have to have martial arts and lightsabers. Get the fuck out of here, bro. We ready? Even Omar, who's a Star Wars reluctant. Even he got perked up a little bit. You know what I'm saying, man? This is exciting, huh? A little bit. Omar, no, does it bring you back?
Because I'm like, I'm not. That's the one Star Wars is the thing. I am not like. I am not that versed. I'm like, I thought it reminds me of the High Republic, but I think this is the Old Republic. Old Republic is when they were at their strongest, or is it High Republic?
It was the Old Republic.
Old Republic when they're at the strongest.
This is when the Force is now being taught like Christianity, you know what I'm saying? Like it's now starting to go ye therefore teach all nations, the recruitment of Jedi as basically universe police, you know what I'm saying? And so now
the rise of the Sith here.
This is when we finally get our first glimpse at the dark side of the Force and how it's being wielded, and they don't even understand it. They're like, somebody's killing Jedi. Like, why would anybody do that? You know?
So I have questions. Does this mean we're gonna like hopefully get to see like Dathomir? Because like this is, you know what I'm saying? Like this is into like we're getting into like the beginning of the, you know, the dark side and everything like that, and like, you know, where it, you know, came from and how it, you know, mixed in with, you know what I'm saying, like everything. So I don't know. This might be something very, very, very interesting coming up. I'm really excited for this.
Well, I think we did see a glimpse of Dathomir in Ahsoka. Rest in peace,
like,
Ahsoka.
but like in its prime, though, not like a dead city. I'm talking about like with people, with the priestess, you know what I'm saying? With all the dead sisters, you know what I'm saying? Like the dark brothers, and like, I'm getting geeked just thinking about it.
I'm here for the witches. They're like literally low key my favorite part, especially the Overlord, the main one with the fucked up voice and shit. Like, yo, that shit, she gives me chills every time. But yeah, man, this is the new wave of Star Wars, and if I may say so, Star Wars, you have not made it hard for yourself with the lead in of Ahsoka. It can't be too bad. It can't be worse than Ahsoka. I'm sorry. We wanted Ahsoka to be so great, and unfortunately, it didn't deliver. So, Acolyte, if you're not as bad as that, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it should pop. You know what I'm saying? But that is what it is. Well, listen, I did have a couple other subjects as well, but since we don't have all of those, we'll definitely bring these back for next week. I did want to shout out once again the Queen Angela Bassett, who will be honored this upcoming summer as a Disney legend, which I think speaks volumes. Let's not forget she was one of the first Black women to win an Academy Award for a Marvel film. I'm sorry. Be nominated. Because she was snubbed by Jamie Lee Curtis, you bitch. Sorry, I don't know you, Jamie. I'm just playing. I didn't mean that. It was
He's a Zionist, so it's okay.
My inside speaking. I didn't like the fact that Angela didn't get that award. So I didn't mean that. I'm just. That
was the most polite I think you've ever been.
I mean, she shouldn't have won. I'm sorry. I liked her character and everything, everywhere, all at once. But did it beat Queen?
Angela Bassett.
Angela freaking, you know what I'm talking about. You know, from Black Panther, and names they went out my. You know what I'm talking about. So no. Well, anyway, guys, we've said a lot, we've done a lot. All right, we've gone from Ghostbusters to Star Wars with a lot of X-Men in the middle of that Oreo sandwich. So hope you all enjoyed what you saw today. If you did, please, Ty,
make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We want to also thank everybody who came through in the comment section. Again, y'all are just the best. I mean, we can't ask for a better audience. So continue to come through, continue to show that love. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. And follow.
Yeah, man. Pull up on the weekly, man. We're going to be here and we're going to be getting even stronger. I got some things that's brewing, y'all. So stay tuned on behalf of myself, Omar, Yazzie, Dolly, Tiffy, Ty, even those who ain't here, Tyrone, Steph, even Lil Kev. We just want to say appreciate y'all for pulling up and keep on pulling up and be yourself authentically, as we always say, because if you ain't being yourself, you're being fake. And in all things, if you a geek, go ahead and let that geek flag fly. Here's my interview.
Listen, I am in the presence of royalty right now. I don't know if y'all X-Men fans, if y'all know about Miss Allison Smith, but look, damn it, this is Storm as far as I'm concerned. And she said hello.
Hello.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie.